name's Mary and I'm Caroline, and we're both occupational therapists, and today we're going to demonstrate the features of a hoist. This hoist is a typical hoist that someone might have in their home environment, and the purpose of the hoist is to transfer somebody from bed to the wheelchair, from wheelchair to commode, and for any transfers if they're unable to bear weight through their legs. So this is the hoist. This is a birdie hoist, but there are different types of mobile hoists. So most hoists would have the weight limit on the hoist, so just refer to that. On your hoist you have the handset, and on the handset you have the button with an arrow up that raises the boom of the hoist. I don't know if you can see that. You have the down button, which will lower the boom of the hoist. And then you have the two bottom buttons are for spreading the legs of the hoist. So one opens the legs of the hoist, and you need to do that to get in and close to the commode or the chair. And then the other button does the opposite and closes the legs of the hoist for wheeling in underneath the bed. And on here, if you can see this, we have an emergency stop button, this red button here. So when that button is pressed in, the hoist, the handset doesn't work. So often when your hoist is delivered out, it may come with the red button pushed in. So to undo that, if you just do half a turn clockwise, and the red button pops out. And then when you go to operate your hoist, it should work again. Below the red button is the battery indicator scale, and it shows on here at the moment that the hoist is fully charged. Just above the battery indicator scale are two little dots, and one has an arrow down and one has an arrow up. And what they are they're the emergency lowering and raising features of the hoist. They're built into most hoists so that if there was a problem with the handset and some client was hoisted up, that you have an extra feature if you needed to lower them down onto the bed. So if you use something like the tip of the pen and put it into the middle of the circle, that will lower the hoist. And then the opposite one is the arrow up, and that would be to raise the boom of the hoist up. They would only ever be used in an emergency situation where the handset wasn't working. There are brakes on the hoist, which are these things here. There's a brake on each caster, and their brakes on a hoist would only ever be used if the hoist is being used to lift somebody from the floor if they've fallen down on the floor. Otherwise, we always leave the brakes off the hoist, and that just allows the hoist to move slightly to find its own center of gravity when the client has been lifted or lowered down again. For charging the hoist, there is a plug here, which you plug into the wall for charging the hoist. Now when this is plugged in, you can't actually operate the hoist at the same time. So we generally would recommend to clients and their families that they plug the hoist in and do the charging overnight when the hoist isn't needed to be used, and then it's usually fully ready for the next morning.
This is an example of a sling that will be used with the hoist. We're not going to demonstrate that today. There's going to be a separate video made about that, so if you want to refer to that. And the loops of these, the sling is attached to the bar here, the spreader bar. Some other considerations would be the flooring. Ideally, it needs to be used on a smooth surface, such as lino like we have here, or a wooden floor. Surface that the hoist can easily roll and move on. ideally it is two carers, two people need to operate the hoist. Typically one person to move it and to push it, and the other person to guide the client into the chair or into the bed. And also anyone using a hoist, they should have their manual handling up to date as well. Some other considerations will be the hoist and the sling should be inspected before each use to make sure that there's no default, or to make sure that both are in good working order. There is a planned servicing of the hoist, usually every 6 months, and that's to ensure that the hoist continue to be in good working order. They are the other kind of main considerations. Another consideration would be the hoist is not meant to transport someone in. So if you're hoisting someone from bed to chair, make sure that the chair is very near the bed, so it minimises the length of time the person is up in the air and minimises the distance the person has to be moved in the hoist. So a kind of a plan and careful setup of the environment is really important before you use the hoist, and a plan between the carers as well for who's going to maybe assist the person to position them into the chair and who's going to move the hoist.
So I think that's most of our considerations for using the hoist, and we just recommend that you link in with your own local occupational therapist.